Jabahava Shura Marate Takta Jivita Nan Shastra Nana Shastra Praharana Sarvayudha Visharada. There are many other heroes
who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science.
10. Apayaptam tarasmakam palam bhishma virakshitam Paryaptam tvidam etesham palam bhima virakshitam. Translation. Our strength is immeasurable.
We are perfectly protected by Grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited.
Ayaneshu sarveshu tabhagam avastha Bhishma mameva virakshantu avanta sarva evahi. Now all of you must
give full support to Grandfather Bhishma, standing at your respective strategic points in the phalanx of the army.
Tasya sanjayanam harsham kuvridha pitamaha siddhanadam Jochai Shankam Dadmo Pratapavan. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire
of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly like the sound of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy.
Ta Shankascha Beryascha Anavanaka Gomuka Hasaivabhyayam Tam Anta Sashabdas Tumalo Bhavat. After that, the conch shells,
bugles, trumpets, drums, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous.
Taj Vetar Hayar Yukte Mahati Syandane Stito Madhava Pandavas Chaiva Divyo Shanko Pradadmatu. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna,
stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
Panchajanyam Rishikesha Devadatam Dhananjaya Omdam Dadmo Mahashangham Bhimakarma Virodha. I'm used to. Is that right? No. Then Lord Krishna blew his conch shell,
called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called
We're just hearing yesterday about Bhima. He was such a voracious eater that even though Yudhishthira, Arjuna, Nakula, Sahadev, Kunti, they all followed the strict Ekadashi fast. And they wanted to encourage him to do so. But he couldn't do it. And Vyasadeva was speaking. Vyasadeva encouraged him to do it. And I can't do it. No way I can be. So this went on and on. And he felt bad. He really wanted to follow the fast. He told him all the wonderful things that come from it. So finally they came to some agreement. Vyasadeva said, there's one fast called Nirjala fast. One they call it. If you just follow that one time, now this that'll make up for all the other errors. Even if you didn't follow the Kaddish for the other days. He agreed to do that. Finally admitted he was telling about his hunger. He said, my hunger is all the time. I can't abate it. I can't. I'm always thinking about eating. Brika. Stomach is wolf belly. Brika means wolf. Brika udara. Udara, belly. Damodar is bound around the belly. So, but anyway, that Ekadashi became famous as either Pandava near Nirjal Ekadashi, or sometimes Bhima Nirjal Ekadashi. Okay. Next. 16 through 18. Ananta Vijayam Raja. Is that right? Kunti Putro Yudhishthara Nakala Sahadevascha Sugoshamani Pushpako Kashyascha Parmeshvasa Shikandi Chamaharataha Tristadumno Viratascha Satyakischa Parajitaha Rupudo Draupadeyascha Savashak Pritidipate Subhadrascha Mahabahu Shankam Dadmo Pratak Pratak. Translation. King Yudhisthira, the son of Kunti,
blew his conch shell. The Ananta Vijaya and Nakula and Sahadev blew the Sugosha and Manu Pushpaka. That great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter, Shikandi, Dristadyamun, Virat, and the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the son of Draupadi, and the others, O king, such as the son of Subhadra, greatly armed, all with their respective conch shells.
Go back to text 7. Can you read the translation, please?
Text 7 translation. O best of the Brahmanas, for your information, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force.
Well, this is military strategy. They're discussing their own strengths and weaknesses and the other party's strengths and weaknesses in order to make the right military decision. We need to know what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, what are our strengths, what are our. Now, he mentioned captains for the other team or other side. That's who do you start with? Yeah, he said start with Bhima. Their army is protected by Bhima, but our party is going to. He's going to mention his. Hare Krishna. Welcome. Hare Krishna. So the great fighters on the Pandava side, he begins and this is Duryodhana speaking. Duryodhana is speaking to his teacher, Dronacharya. And he starts off by saying that behold this great army that is the army of the sons of Pandu. And who's the director of the army? It's Drishtadyumna. Drishtadyumna is the son of Drupada. What's the significance? The significance is that Dronacharya knew that there was a benediction that Drupada got. Because Drupada had a quarrel, serious quarrel with Dronacharya. And ultimately, Dronacharya was quite successful. He overwhelmed, you could say, with his abilities, he overwhelmed Drupada. And Drupada was forced to give half his kingdom to Drona. Being a Kshatriya, he couldn't live with that very well. So he got the benediction from sages that he would get a son that would be able to kill Dronacharya. And that son would be born out of the fire of sacrifice, not in the ordinary way, but through the fire. So this just Duna was that son, and he did come out of the fire. His sister Tripodi also came out of the fire. So he starts off. Duryodhana is quite a genius when it comes to even dealing with people. He somehow or other managed to get people to work for him, to fight for him. And so now he's got this great army, and it's come to what he wanted. He wanted to fight. He wanted to either kill the Pandavas fairly or unfairly. He didn't care which way. He would have preferred maybe even unfair. But he wasn't able to kill them because Krishna kept protecting them. What's that verse? Janardana, Pakshe, Dayo Pakshe, Janardana. One who's protected by Krishna can't be hurt, can't be harmed. But Krishna protected the Pandavas. That's the first one he mentioned. And he calls him Dhimatam. Dhimata. Tava Shishen Dhimata. Tava means yours. Shishena means your student. And Dhimata means very intelligent. So you see, please note it, Dronacharya, my teacher, that your student, your intelligent student, just doing that, has arranged this great phalanx against us. Remember, you did that. You trained him how to do this. So I hope you don't, become careless. That was his first intent. And the next verse is, let's read. Oh yeah, we're going through because Duryodhana is pointing out great heroes on the other side. So he starts just doing it. Then he says, here in this army, then he says, Yeah, he makes Bhima and Arjuna as the topmost. And then he says, but there are many, also many heroic women like them, equal to them. Because Bhima and Arjuna, their power, their ability in fighting was legendary already in their lifetime. So great fighter. But then he mentions some other great fighters, Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupada. Virata and Drupada were the old kings, and Drupada was the father of Draupadi. She became the wife of the Pandavas. So Drupada took the side of the Pandavas because his daughter married him. And not only that, but yeah. And the next thing is that Virata is where they stayed for the final year of their exile. They had to remain incognito for 1 year. They stayed with Virata. And somehow or other, Virata, by the mercy of the Lord and Yamaraj gave them a benediction that they would not be recognized during the last year of their exile. Because their exile, they have to go back for 12 years more. That was the arrangement. So, but Yamaraj was very merciful, gave that benediction. After all, his son is Yudhisthira Maharaj. Is it not? He's the son of Dharmara. So Yamaraj. That benediction Yamaraj gave to his son. And it turned out that so nobody recognized it. Any of the five, they just couldn't. Something happened, they couldn't. Well, they were expert in the art of changing their forms also. They all knew these powers. Okay, then great heroic powerful power like Drishtaketu, Chaitanya, Kashiraj, Purujit, Kuntiboja, and Shaibya. Kuntiboja is interesting because his name is generally spoken in relationship to the Yadu dynasty, the dynasty that Krishna comes from on his father's side. Because Kuntiboja, he was a king, but he had no offspring. So his friend was Surasena, father of Vasudeva. And so he gave his daughter as a gift, friendship gift, to Kuntiboja. Her name originally when she was born was Prita. But when she was given to Kuntiboja, then she got the name Kunti from her father. That was her nickname. Sometimes in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna addressed him, "O son of Kunti," or he is, "O son of Kunti." Kunti is, the mother of the Pandavas. But also sometimes Krishna addresses Arjuna as son of Prita, Partha. Arjuna is son of Prita. Parthasarathi. Krishna is famous as Parthasarathi, the charioteer of Arjuna, Partha. Then those are the heroes of the other side. Oh, there's more. They are the mighty Yudamanyu, the very powerful Uttamoja, the son of Subhadra, is Abhimanyu, famous Abhimanyu. He's the son of Arjuna. He was only 16 years old, but he was as great a fighter as Arjuna, practically. He was as great a fighter. Slightly less because he wasn't as experienced. Great fighter. And then the sons of Draupadi. Each of them had one son, and they were great warriors. They were young, like Abhimanyu, but they were great fighters. Then all these warriors are great chariot fighters. Then he wants to tell them about, Duryodhana tells about his own chief warriors. And then he says, there are personalities. You can read this text 8, please.
The purport.
The translation.
There are personalities like yourself, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwatthama, Vikarna, and the son of Samadatta, called Varishrava, who are always victorious in battle.
Report.
Duryodhana mentioned the exceptional heroes in the battle, all of whom are ever victorious. Vikarna is the brother of Duryodhana, Ashwatthama is the son of Dronacharya, and Samadati, or Varishrava, is the son of king of the Balikas. Karna is the half-brother of Arjuna, as he was born of Kunti before her marriage with King Pandu. Kripacharya married the twin sister of Dronacharya.
And they're all great fighters. Bhishma is considered unconquerable. And Karna, Krishna said to Draupadi, there's only 2 persons in the world that can hit the target that was set up for testing the greatest warrior who would win the hand of the Swayambara or Draupadi. And Krishna said, you know who those 2 warriors are? One was Arjuna, everyone knew. The other one was Karna. Krishna said, Karna, those are the 2. So Karna is a great archer on the level of Arjuna. And he's on their side, and he hated Arjuna. He was very envious because his birth was shrouded in the mystery, and to have a shrouded birth means no one knows who your father is. And so he was adopted, and he was always discriminated against because of that. He left. Many opportunities were not open to him because of that birth. So he was always envious to defeat Arjuna. That's the main reason that Duryodhana chose him and made him his friend, because he saw how much he hated Arjuna. And he's on his side. Then who else? Ashwatthama, son of Drona. Drona himself was practically undefeatable. He was a Brahmana, but he was a great warrior. He was a teacher of everyone. He knew all the astras, the Brahmastra, the different demigods astras. He knew them all, and he could teach them. And he was fighting on the side. Why? That's a good question. Why were all these great personalities fighting on the wrong side in favor, following Duryodhana, who was very evil from his birth? He was always doing evil things. Why is it? Because it's a very complicated thing that they were trying to do Dharma. They were trying to be, some of them were. Duryodhana didn't try to do Dharma. He just wanted to get power. But the others had some desire for doing dharmic thing. And because they took payment, Drona Drona wanted his reason for training sons of Dhritarashtra was, of course, he was a teacher and he liked to teach. He knew that was his duty. But there was nothing. He wanted to be maintained. They were maintaining him at a very high standard. And Bhishma, he had promised that he would protect whoever was in the lead, whoever was ruling in Hastinapur, capital of the Pandavas. It had been the capital of the Kuru dynasty for a long time. So he said he would protect. He promised he would never take the throne himself, never become king. That was a promise he made so that his father, King Shantanu, Emperor Shantanu, could marry the fisherman's daughter. It's a long story. Probably heard it before. Story, Mahabharata. So his first wife was Ganga, the goddess of the Ganga River. Very wonderful, beautiful demi-goddess, all good qualities, pure. He saw her, simply captivated by her. He agreed to anything she asked for. There's a long story before that, how she managed, they happened to come in contact. I won't tell the story now, but they were previously associated in the heavenly planets. And for some behavior like not befitting demigods, they were sent to Earth for some time to be prayaschitta, to do some penance. Just like sometimes someone does something wrong, then he has to go somewhere and live in some kind of secluded place and not have so many amenities. That's a prayaschitta, he has to purify himself. So anyway, Ganga, she kept having sons. Oh yeah, she made a condition on the marriage. She said, if you ever ask me, you can never ask me why I did anything. Never chastise me. Whatever I want to do, I do. And if you don't want me to do it, as soon as you explain that, I'm leaving. He said. He was so captivated by her. So she took the first son of Shantanu. After it was born, she went and put it in the river Ganga, and it drowned. King was shocked. His own wife just threw their child in the river. And then it happened second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, seventh time. Eighth time. She was about to go for the eighth. And Shantanu said, stop! Give me that son. How can you do this? And he just couldn't control himself. He said, okay, I'm leaving now. And then she offered to take the son and get him educated in the heavenly realms, and then send him back when he was educated. And they agreed to that. So that was the arrangement. But after she left, he had no wife. And Shantanu is a Kshatriya. He wanted to have a wife. Then he saw the beauty of Satyavati, daughter of the fisherman. He became captivated by her beauty. The story behind that. But anyway, the thing was, Bhishma. Bhishma was the eighth son. So when he came back after having been educated in everything, he was naturally, it was expected he would be the next king, be the regent, because he's the only son and very qualified. So it was all being planned and arranged. But Shantanu was heartbroken after Satyavati because he first lost his first wife, Ganga. So Bhishma found out somehow that his father was wanting to marry this, but he had asked, the king had asked the fisherman for the hand of his daughter. And the fisherman said, I know you're very qualified. No, he wouldn't agree because he said, the fisherman said, I'll only give you my daughter in marriage if you promise that her son will be the next king. And Shantanu couldn't agree to that because his son, Bhishma, was there, very qualified. And I can't do that. I can't promise you that. So then Bhishma found out about that promise. And his father found out that the fisherman would not allow his daughter to marry the emperor because of me. So he took it upon himself, went to the fisherman and said, I'm the son of Bhishma. I make a promise that I will let your son be the king, be the emperor. I don't mind at all. I'll give him full protection. And the fisherman said, it's very good. I know your word of honor. I know you'll keep your word, but still your son may be very powerful also, and he may defeat my son. He's quite a good businessman. So Vishnu said, then I promise I'll never marry. There'll be no sons, second sons of mine. There'll be no sons. It'll be your son. And the fisherman agreed. And the marriage was given. But when his father found out what his son had done, he was felt bad, good, both. Bad because he took away the right of his son to become the emperor, and a very qualified son. But he was happy because he got to marry Satyavati. So he gave Bhishma a benediction. He would not die until he wanted to die. Only when you want to die will you die, otherwise you'll not die. And yes, so he took that vow, and when he took that vow, the demigods, great sound, he's Bhishma. It's awesome, awesome vow. For a Kshatriya to vow a life of complete celibacy is extraordinary, unthinkable. So that brings us up to this point here. We left off on what text was that? Okay. Text 9.
There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science.
As far as the others are concerned, like Jayadratha, Kritavarma, Shalya, etc., all are determined to lay down their lives for Duryodhana's sake. In other words, it is already concluded that all of them would die in battle of Kurukshetra for joining the party of the sinful Duryodhana. Duryodhana was, of course, confident of his victory on account of the above-mentioned combined strength of his friends. Duryodhana had this false pride, not recognizing Krishna. Krishna says, Mrityu Sarva Haras Chaham, I'm all devouring death. So Krishna is all devouring. For the demons, in particular, Krishna's death personified. Like when he was in the arena of Kamsa, Kamsa saw him as death personified. But not everyone saw him as that. Some of the devotees saw him as different things, like Vasudeva and Devaki saw him as their, beloved child, and some of the other attendants in the wrestling arena saw him as the most beautiful person. But Kamsa saw him as death personified. Due to some illusion, seems like Duryodhana is very confident of his victory on account of his forces. He was very confident. He had people like Jayadratha. Jayadratha is very powerful. Kritavarma is actually the commander-in-chief of Krishna's army. So Krishna had made the proposal to Duryodhana and company that, okay, I will give one side my army and I'll give the other side myself. So you choose, of course. Duryodhana chose Krishna's army, and Arjuna chose, or Yudhisthira Maharaj, I forget which one, or chose to have Krishna on his army. And because the devotee has confidence in the Lord. And that was the right decision. Because Duryodhana and his party, they lost the battle, ultimately. So let's see, in text 20, text 10, our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas carefully protected by Bhima is limited. Purport, herein an estimation of comparative strength is made by Duryodhana. He thinks that the strength of his armed forces is immeasurable, being specifically protected by the most experienced general, grandfather Bhishma. On the other hand, the forces of the Pandavas are limited, being protected by a less experienced general, Bhima, who is like a fig in the presence of Bhishma. Duryodhana was always envious of Bhima because he knew perfectly well that if he should die at all, he would only be killed by Bhima. But at the same time, he was confident of his victory on account of the presence of Bhishma, who was a far superior general. His conclusion that he would come out of the battle victorious was well ascertained. And so Bhishma, grandfather Bhishma, being the son of Ganga and King Shantanu, was no ordinary personality. He's very, very powerful personality and very great devotee of the Lord. It's interesting that he's on the battlefield and he's such this wonderful devotee, but he's actually shooting arrows at Krishna. And it's really nice. Somewhere it's described that those arrows, when he was shooting at Krishna with these arrows, those arrows that hit Krishna, it's described that was like, it was pleasurable for Krishna because he's doing it out of love. Grandfather Bhishma, yeah. The first canto. So they compare, yeah. What's that? Well, it's like Prabhupada makes the point that his arrows hitting Krishna were akin to the bites of a lover, you know. So they were like hitting him, but they were pleasurable for Krishna because he's doing it at a service, devotional service. It's interesting point that's made. I think that point is made maybe by one of the previous acharyas, and Prabhupada is quoting it. I'm not sure. I don't quite remember, but I was there. And then when Grandfather Bhishma, there's a famous part in the Mahabharata where Grandfather Bhishma is at the end of the battle, he's lying on a bed of arrows. He's impaled with all these arrows. He's been pierced. His whole body is lying on this bed of arrows. And he pretty sure he had some boon where he could die at will. He could leave his body at will. So he stayed on the battlefield in that condition for a really long time, actually. And this few months, maybe something like that. I'm not sure. Maybe some devotees can confirm. But he spoke this a pretty large portion of the Mahabharata during this time to Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas, and Krishna was there. There may even be a picture somewhere. I'm not sure. In here, maybe, maybe not. No, I don't know. Why would there be? I'm not sure. But there's a picture somewhere on BBT art. But it's a nice picture, and all the Pandavas and Krishna, they're feeling, this. So they're grieving because Grandfather Bhishma is in this condition, such a heroic personality, and he's in this condition, lying there with all these arrows penetrating him. Of course, he's like speaking the topmost philosophy. This condition, it's crazy for a long time. But it's such like a very poignant moment for them, because he's called Grandfather Bhishma for a reason. Because King Shantanu had Bhishma. Bhishma was his son, and Pandu and Dhritarashtra. Anyways, my memory is a little. Maharaj went over it, but my memory is it's the whole family tree is pretty convoluted. It's complex, lots of personalities, lots of names. But basically, because the Pandavas lost their father, Grandfather Bhishma was the elder in the Kuru dynasty, and he took care of them like that. So they had so much affection for this personality. And his personality was very dear to the Lord as well. So, anyways, forgive me for any, you know, what I don't know all the facts. It's a long history, so I might have spoken some misinformation. But I think it's about time. Anyone have any comments or questions? Jai. Okay. Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.